All right, good morning, everyone. This week's focus has been on listings, and we want to keep that focus going today. So we're going to talk a little bit about different things you can do to grab a listings. We talked Monday about, unexpired listings. Today I was going to focus a little bit on for sale by owners. I've been seeing more for sale by owner signs out there while I've been driving around. And I think it's a great opportunity for you guys to get out there and talk to those people that have their sign up in the yard and see what's going on with them. So, Jan, have you had any luck with for sale by owners? And if you have, can you share an experience with that?
Yeah, I haven't seen any signs, and I don't actually go to Zillow. And my focus is more expireds than
Yeah.
for sale by owners. But I just haven't seen anything out there yet. So I haven't seen that.
Okay. Josie, what about you?
I haven't done too many for sale by owners, but actually I take that back. I've done a couple of for sale by owners, but those were the ones that clients have already kind of found on Zillow or driving by, and I made the contact after my clients, saw the sign and then went under contract, right?
Okay, cool. Were you able to grab any listings from those for sale by owners?
Actually, yes, one of them I did. I sent out postcards right after, and I would say maybe like 2 weeks after is when I got a phone call.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
I think the thing I think is really big and important is, everybody's going to be calling those for sale by owners. So you make that one initial call, and we do have scripts for that. And, you're going to just call and, ask them if their house is still for sale and ask them their name and then introduce yourself, and to see. And what I used to say, and it's one of the scripts that we have, is, "This is Bill Stanek with Caldwell Banker Premier Group. I was calling to see when you plan on interviewing agents for the job of getting your house sold." They usually say they're going to do it on their own. And then I always came back as, "How long do you think you will try it on your own before you consider interviewing agents?" And it just depends on the sellers. They might say, "Oh, we think we can do this." So they might continue on, or they might say, "You know what, we haven't sold it within a month. We might be, And then I always follow up, and it's our for sale by dialogue is, "Are you cooperating with agents?" And that's when you find out if they're willing to work with a buyer's agent potentially. And if they say no, I always say, "Well, if I had a buyer for a house, would you sell to them for a reduced commission?" And that's when you would showcase what you get to represent a buyer and ask them if they're willing to pay that. A lot of times the seller's like, "Oh no, I'm not paying commission." So how do you overcome that? I usually went in to say, "Well, can you tell me a little about your house?" And listen and take really good notes. Always compliment them on their house. So sounds like a nice house. Why are you selling? Trying to get some, build that relationship with that for sale by owner seller. Ask them, "Why are you selling?" "Well, we're downsizing." "Oh, okay. Do you have a new house picked out yet?" Or they might say, "Well, we're moving out of state." "Oh, where are you moving to?" So there's just opportunities to where you can build that relationship and then find out if they have to sell before they buy. And then just, see how things going and see how the relationship's going with that seller. But then I always say, "Hey, how long have you had your house on the market?" And sometimes you can see that when you're looking on Zillow at the for sale by owners, but sorry about that. But I always say, "How long have your house on the market?" "Well, I've had it on the market for 2 weeks." How many people have come through? And that's the key thing right there. How many people have come through to see your house? And they might say, "Well, we've only had a couple." "Oh, okay. Have you had any offers yet?" And they might say, "No, still up for sale." And then I always ask, "Well, what do you think's stopping people from buying your house? Have you been getting any feedback?" "No, they just come in, they look it over, they're like, "Okay, great, thanks for letting and they walk out, And that's where you go into selling what you could do. And that's what I always say, "Well, I understand you're trying to sell this for yourself, and anybody can really sell a house, but it's that support and it's those tools that you need to sell a house nowadays. So this is what we do at Coldwell Bank Premier Group, and go through what you're going to do for them, how you're going to market, how you're going to hold open houses, how you're going to get feedback, all the time and energy that you're going to put into selling this house, and always emphasize what you're going to do and how hard you're going to do it to get that house sold, and just have that conversation, and then I always follow up and say, I haven't seen your house yet. Would it be possible if I can stop by and check out your house and look it over? Because even if you want to try to keep selling this on anything, I might know someone that might be interested in buying your house, and I could provide feedback to maybe someone in my office, or I might actually have a buyer. And then ask the date and time that you can come over. So there's different ways to go about for sale by owners, but always compliment them, always build a relationship with them, and follow up. Like Josie said, she sent out a postcard a couple weeks later. A handwritten note goes a long way with for sale by owners. You could also provide, the one time I did where I was selling, I actually provided a handwritten note and showed them the houses that have sold in the market in their neighborhood in the past 6 months, and told them that, provide that information. So you can provide some information to them. So, but it's a good way to help those sellers get their house sold. I drive by one that outside my subdivision. I know a couple agents have called them, and he's just very stubborn. He thinks he can sell it, but it's been sitting for sale by owner for over 60 days. So what does that say to people that might be looking for that house? They're like, okay, what's wrong with this house? So, it's just how you build that relationship with us and provide some details of what you're going to do. I saw other people join us. Anybody else has any success stories with for sale by owners? Sue, you got any?
Actually, I don't, but I will say this. Sometimes it takes folks a while to get back to you. Like one little story was, there was a house and 6 siblings were trying to come into an agreement on selling this house of their deceased mother. And, I followed up like Josie, talked to them, followed up with cards. It was probably 6 months later before they reached back out to me to meet with me about listing their house. I didn't end up getting the listing only because the siblings could not get on board and get an agreement. But sometimes it just takes a while for people to finally call you back. So I would just say be persistent.
Good point. Anybody else want to share anything? Have anybody done any for sale by owner phone calls lately? I think it's a great opportunity. I would get out there and drive your neighborhood, drive your farm area. Norm's driving. He's looking for a for sale by owner right now, I think.
There's one right across the street. Can I share something with you?
You definitely can.
I've been in touch with Jason Matt. Jason is the #1 agent in Detroit, or in the top 5. It varies. But his program on for sale by owners is he goes in and he gets the appointment. He asks them to show them around as if he was a buyer. Would you please mind showing me around as if I was a buyer? And then he looks around the house, and he knows that 80% of these people are going to list their house with a real estate broker. He knows it. And so what he says is he takes a very opposite approach. He said, you know what, guys, I think you can sell your house on your own. You really don't need my services at this point in time. You have a very nice house. You live in a very nice neighborhood, and I think you can sell it on your own. He writes a thank you note to them for allowing him to see the house and wishes them good luck. The second step is he calls them and says, guys, I just wanted to touch base. Did you get my note? You know how the mails are these days. And he said, would you be offended if I kept in touch with you? And they say, oh, no, Jason, no, you can keep in touch. Well, good luck in selling your home. If I can ever be of help to you, please let me know. And so he calls them back a week later and he says, well, guys, give me the good news. And I said, no, good news, Jason, we haven't sold our house. Calls him back in 2 weeks, gets the same response. Third week he calls him, third time he calls him, he said, so how's it going, guys? Is you getting a lot of traffic? Got any contracts? They say, no, Jason, we haven't. And he says, you know what, guys? You probably need to talk to me. And he gets about 50% of the list of those that he goes on. He's not going to get them all. He knows that. But it's a different way of doing it. And I think it works for Jason. I don't know if it would work for everybody.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right on the head. He's got the mindset of how he's going to go about to get this for sale by owner, and it doesn't come off as, okay, I'm better than you. He's actually providing support to those sellers and building that relationship with them over those couple of weeks. So, like we said, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take multiple phone calls, and Sue said it too, multiple contacts, and Josie said it. So just keep in touch with those for sale by owners. And if you're following up, that's the key thing. And handwritten note, and just see how they're going. So thanks, Norm, for sharing that.
Okay. Thank Jason and Matt.
Yeah.
he shared that with me.
Yeah, he does he does a very good job on for sale by owner. So
yeah.
Anybody else want to share anything? Okay. Well, we're going to wrap it up a little bit early today, but just remember tomorrow at 3:00 at the Big Bend office, and for those that are in the South County office, we will be doing dialing for dollars. So come in and make some phone calls, and we'll have some treats, and we'll follow up. You can focus on expired listings. You can focus on for sale by owner listings. So anybody that comes in the South County office, I might give you a couple for sale by owners I've seen out in the St. Charles area by my house. So I'll let you guys call and we can see what happens. All right, guys, so I'm giving you 2 minutes back to your day. Have a great day, and Lori will be back on Monday at her normal time for 15 minutes. All right, take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.